From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. Here we are on a Monday, the 14th of April. It's 2025. We've got quite a variety of stories to bring to you, and here come today's stories. Politics, left of center politics, will be the foundation of a rally at the Ford Idaho Center in Nampa later today. By now, you've probably heard that Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont is on a tour that he calls Fighting Oligarchy, and today it hits Canyon County. Yesterday, the tour was in Salt Lake City. Tomorrow, they're in California. Wednesday, they're in Missoula, Montana. As for the Ford Idaho Center, today the doors open at 3:30. The speeches get underway at 6. The number is growing. The number of international students in our region who have been targeted by the U.S. Justice Department. And as Laura Patterson reports for Northwest Public Broadcasting, universities here in Idaho and Washington State are not being told about what's happening to their students.
At least 4 students at the University of Idaho and 3 students at Washington State University are just some from all across the country having their student visas revoked by the Trump administration. School officials say universities have not been notified by federal officials, and they haven't been given a reason why. Kate Hellman is WSU's Director of International Student and Scholar Services.
I've been in this position for almost 6 years. I've been in the field of international education for 20. I've never seen something like this.
She says there's a database university officials can use to check the visa status of their students, and they're checking each day so they can provide information and support to students. Students are being told to reach out to their universities as the situation develops. I'm Lauren Patterson, reporting.
A bill that requires voters to provide proof of citizenship has just passed the U.S. House. It's advancing to the Senate. As Jamie Geary tells us, policies already in place in Idaho could play into a national implementation if that bill becomes law.
Last Thursday, the House passed the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, or SAVE Act. The legislation requires voters to provide proof of citizenship, including real ID driver's licenses, to participate in elections. Standard driver's licenses would no longer be accepted. Last week, Idaho Secretary of State Phil McGrain spoke on election security at the Federal House Elections Subcommittee in Washington. Before the hearing, McGrain told Boise State Public Radio what he planned to discuss.
A really hot topic is just citizenship validation. In order for us to be able to do that, we can't just do it as Idaho alone. We need our partners in the other states as well as the federal government to be able to do that.
This includes implementation of the state's 2024 Only Citizens Can Vote Act executive order, which requires all Idaho voters' citizenship status to be reviewed each election cycle. The order was followed by a constitutional amendment Idaho voters approved in fall that explicitly says only U.S. citizens can vote, even though existing laws already ban non-citizens from casting ballots. At the hearing, McGrain said all 1.1 million Idaho voter registrations were audited by the state this last election.
Easily determining citizenship for the overwhelming majority, but then really dialing it into a case-by-case basis to narrow it down to 34 individuals who were non-citizens on Idaho's voter rolls.
That's about 0.003% of the voting population last fall. Idaho checks the voter registry to purge inactive voters every 2 years. The committee asked McGrain why Idaho banned student IDs for voter identification. He said it didn't change voter turnout and that Idaho is looking into requiring Real ID star cards for voting.
We have the Real ID taking effect. We all see this when we travel. All of us experience it. This is something that we can do.
Idaho's Real ID star card program takes effect on May 7th. A 2024 study by the University of Maryland finds roughly 21 million registered voters don't have easy access to proof of citizenship. That's 9% of the country's voting population. Jamie Geary, Boise State Public Radio News.
We will get new job numbers this week from the State Department of Labor. The last report putting Idaho's unemployment rate at 3.7%. And looking at the latest reports of claims for unemployment, we see that new claims have ticked up in Idaho. And by far, most of the new claims have come in the manufacturing and construction industries. An ambitious effort to understand the connection between firefighting and cancer is on pause indefinitely. As Murphy Woodhouse tells us, the shutdown comes after thousands of layoffs at the Department of Health and Human Services.
Registration for the congressionally mandated National Firefighter Registry for Cancer opened up 2 years ago, and nearly 24,000 current and former firefighters have since signed up.
NFR is the best way to improve our overall understanding of cancer risks across the entire fire service.
That's Dr. Jeff Burgess, a public health professor at the University of Arizona who has studied firefighter health for several decades. The NFR is especially important, he says, due to how little is known about risks for wildland firefighters. The program is part of the CDC's National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. The agency said in an email that the enrollment system is down indefinitely due to staffing cuts and that the data cannot currently be analyzed. A high-level CDC official familiar with the NFR, who spoke with the Bureau anonymously for fear of retribution, calls the shutdown devastating. It would be a travesty, they say, for the data to just sit there. For the Mountain West News Bureau, I'm Murphy Woodhouse.
This spring, biologists are keeping a close watch on conditions out in the Pacific Ocean. That's where salmon spend years before the possibility of surviving nearly 900 miles to the headwaters of the Salmon River near Stanley, Idaho. And Courtney Flatt has that story.
For a long time, scientists have studied what salmon eat. They also know where salmon go and a lot more about their survival in the ocean. But that could change if scientists no longer have funding for research on National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration vessels. Here's Brian Burke with NOAA. He spoke at a Northwest Power and Conservation Council meeting.
It's important to recognize if we're not out there continually studying this changing system, it can revert to a black box. It could become this thing we no longer understand how things are working.
Burke says the ocean is also warming drastically because of climate change. I'm Courtney Flatt reporting.
And that is it for a Monday and this edition of The Connector, and we will join you again tomorrow, Tuesday. In the meantime, you can always stay in touch on our website. That's Boise State Public Radio and the Boise State Public Radio app. Tell your friends about The Connector. Let them know how to get all of the stories, start their day just like you. And for now, thanks.